What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the program. And today I'm speaking with a flyweight contender from England. He trains out of One MMA Academy in Manchester, and he joins me ahead of his next bout at Cage Warriors 168. His name is Mr. Sheldon Ryan. Sheldon, welcome to the show. Appreciate the time, my man. Glad we could link up to do this.
I'm happy to be on, man. I appreciate you sending me the invite and linking up to get on. So just to get this fight out there as well, let everyone know what's going on.
Absolutely. And let's start from square one. You train out of One MMA Academy in Manchester, and I've had the pleasure of meeting one of your teammates, James Williams. He's been on this program before. But I want to first talk about your gym. How did you end up there, and who are your coaches?
It's a funny story, to be honest. I was on a holiday in Benidorm, and I was actually watching a Cage Warriors fight card in one of the bars, and Paddy was fighting that night. I just watched that, come home, and I thought, that's a bit of me, So I've basically started talking to my mate, saying, I fancy doing MMA. So he said, let me speak to my friend, he does it. So he spoke to his friend, and his friend's gone, Menga's opening One MMA like this weekend. Why don't you go there? It's probably the best place for you. And that's literally how it went, mate. Like, I literally went on the first or second day it opened after just literally finding out after I got back holiday. Went straight to the gym, and then that was it. I just ended up there. I've not left since.
Well, that's absolutely perfect. And you train with James Williams. He's a very special fighter. He can fight at flyweight. He can fight at bantamweight as well. Yeah. What is it like for you in terms of your development, getting time in the training room with somebody of that caliber?
It's been great, to be honest, because he's always been a step ahead of me, like in his journey. He started before me. So it's always been good because he's experienced things that I haven't quite experienced yet, and able to lean on that sometimes. And it's the little things like when you're walking out, the stuff they say to you. Or, do you know in the training room, like the habits they make you do. It's not just off James, but also Pete. Like the older guys. They basically show you the habits that you should follow. So that's sort of what I've learned mainly off the older guys. And like obviously now I'm sort of like one of the older guys in the gym. Because I've got like a big crop of youngsters coming through, and it's sort of like the same for me to them. Like I'm able to tell them stuff after fights, give them experiences. Like they're gonna have to learn for themselves, but it's always good to have like an understanding of what could possibly happen in these certain situations.
What was one of the biggest things technique wise that you really had to put in the most amount of time into? Like MMA, it's tons of disciplines, Muay Thai, striking, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. There's so many things, but was there a specific thing that you found to be particularly challenging in terms of your overall MMA development?
Early days, I didn't used to enjoy jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it at all. I just wanted to fight. I just wanted to punch people and just get punched back and kick and knee and elbow. I used to just want to do all that, just have a scrap. Where I'm from, that's basically how we used to deal with stuff back in the day. When we were kids, our parents just used to let us have a fight. Whoever won would shake hands, and then that was the end of it. And it was brilliant because it taught us, it taught us quite a few life lessons, growing up, sort of being like that. And people don't really take the piss out of each other where I'm from. We're quite respectable, and, we're all nice to each other in a way, So, yeah. I've gone off topic there, haven't I?
I think that's okay. That's an interesting backstory. So the jiu-jitsu,
it wasn't as kicky for me. It took me about till I lost my first amateur fight. My fifth amateur fight in, I lost to a ninja choke, and I didn't know what a ninja choke was at the time. So I remember being frustrated with myself that because I'd only been training for 3 years. So you obviously can't cover everything in that time. So I remember being frustrated with myself, and I was back in the gym literally the day after with one of my coaches, Dre, and he was just drilling it, escapes, attacks, different ways. Why I got subbed that way, what mistake I made in the fight to even end up in that position in the first place. So it's stuff like that. That's what actually made me focus. But I spoke to, I asked Rimmer for some advice after the loss because he was there, next gen head coach. I asked him for some advice after the fight, and he said to me, how many times a week do you train jiu-jitsu? I said twice. And he said, well, say if you work that out into a month, you train 8 times a month jiu-jitsu. He's like, well, you've got this week off. Why don't you go and train 8 times this week, jiu-jitsu, and then you've got a month's worth in a week. And since he said that to me, it was like a light bulb moment. You know, I'd never looked at it that way before. So when he said that to me, I've used that basically all the way through now, and I count my hours, you know, of what I'm covering in each area. And I just went away and did that. I listened to what he said. I went away and just put absolute hours into jiu-jitsu after that. And it was the gi. My coach, Pete, basically said, you need to get in the gi. If you want to really level up, you need to get in the gi. So I started going to the gi classes, and I remember, like, I'd been training for 3 years, never done gi. Went into gi and was just getting wrapped up by the gi every 2 seconds, thinking, what the hell is going on here? So that was an eye-opener. And then that kind of got me into it, you know, because obviously I lost my fight to submission anyway. And the fact that I'd never trained gi, it got me into something kind of new. And that's why I think I like MMA, because I like the fact that you can mix up so much. I've tried boxing in the past and stuff like that, and I can't do it every day. I get bored, you know, I lose interest. So that's why MMA works for me.
One of the things, Sheldon, when I look at your career to date, I think there's like a story within a story. Like, I look at your pro career, you lose your debut fight, and then you go on a 3-bout winning streak. And that's like a tale of 2 cities, right? Because nobody goes into their pro debut thinking like, oh, it's not going to work out for me. I'm going to get smoked. It's not going to work out. Yeah. And then you go from that crushing low to like going on a tear now, and you're like riding a high. Now you're in Cage Warriors, and you're going to be fighting a stud in Manchester at Cage Warriors 168. Like, the lowest of the lows, now the highest of the highs, it would seem. What's been like the biggest lesson you've learned about yourself over the course of those extremes there?
I think it's just a sport, how much it gives you, you know, as a person. I think it helps you grow up and mature. The same as like what boxers say, the discipline it gives you. It does give you that you're around good people daily. You know, people are actually trying to thrive to things. But the best way to describe it, it's like I've had about 4 starts in MMA. So I was like into club level now, and I did a bit of Muay Thai. Now, then I did amateur MMA. Now it's like professional MMA. And it's as if Cage Warriors is like another start again, like another fresh start. It's crazy. That's what I've been thinking about recently. It's crazy how it always feels like you're starting again, you know, each step. But I was ranked number 1 for a while in the UK amateur, and then I was just taking all the hardest fights I could, and then I got beat in my second to last amateur fight, and then I actually got a draw in my last amateur fight, but it was a win. I basically got screwed over by the referee that night, or one of the judges. But yeah, after that first defeat in my pro debut, I just thought about, I was just listening to people. My biggest inspiration is Alex Ferguson, and it's just Man United manager, and I always listen to like his stuff, all his lectures and stuff like that. And yeah, I just wrote a goal down after that fight, and I just thought, what would be a goal that would be amazing? Like, what would be actually, you know, what could I look at, and what could I, you know, it'd be a dream to get that goal. So I just put, I want 10 finishes on the bounce as my goal, and I've not wrote that goal down as like it has to happen. You know what I mean? It's just something that I just feel like's helped me. Like, always look for the finishing fights. I feel like it sort of planted the seed in my head to always look for that finish by writing that goal down. So that's the main purpose of that goal. I want that goal, but I won't be deterred if I don't get that goal. It's the reason of it being a goal is just to keep reminding me when I'm in the fight that I do want the finish, because sometimes you're in a fight, you can coast, you can feel comfortable, you can like, oh, it's easy this, you know. I've done it in the amateurs where you find in a fight easy and you just basically take the piss, you're just pissing about. Yeah,
have you thought, Sheldon, about your subsequent goal, because you're 30% of the way there?
Yeah, I'm 30% there. So that's what's happy to look at and to think, you know, to remind yourself that I'm actually on track with, you know, the goal, even though we're 3 fights in. So that's good. But mate, I'm looking forward to making it 4. I actually can't wait. I'm really excited to try and get another finish.
So, Cage Warriors, when do they contact you and inquire about your availability? You go on a 3-fight winning streak and you're finishing all your opponents. Like, you're bound to get on their radar, and you do. At what point do they ask about your services?
Well, I think we got in touch November. I think the contract was actually signed in November, to be honest, last year. But they was going to try and get me on the card in Manchester. I can't remember the date though, but it was the end of the year, end of 2023. But I caught staph infection off from one of the gyms. I don't know where I caught it, but I had to take like 8 to 12 weeks off training, you know, and ended up having 2 courses of antibiotics, you know, just to get rid. So I couldn't fight. It just wasn't right. I didn't have the camp, and I can't fight with staph. So can't even train with staph. It's not even good for you, man. People don't even realise it's in your blood. Yeah, it's a no-go. So that has to, obviously had to get cancelled. But so I'm not, honestly, I was on a little bit of I was a bit gutted after that, because, you know, I wanted to fight. I wanted to end the year, you know, well, and then push on for next year. But then once I did get that call, yeah, I don't know. I was excited, but I wasn't excited till it got announced. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it does make sense. And, you know, I'm looking at it from your perspective, and it's like, okay, kind of like an unorthodox entry into the sport. And now on the 16th of March, you're going to be fighting for arguably one of the most prestigious MMA promotions in Europe. And is that kind of like a surreal moment for you? Like, you're going to put on the yellow gloves and you're going to fight in Manchester. There's going to be a ton of people that show out to watch you perform. Like, is that a surreal moment for you, or is this just another night at the office in a way?
Like, it is, but the way I look at it is, I just want to punch his head in. I want to go in there and finish him. Like, I massively appreciate all the sport, and I absolutely love everybody. Like I do. I think there's so many amazing people that help you throughout this journey, even from different gyms, from different walks of life. So yeah, but I just want to go in there and fuck him up, bro. I do. I'm excited. I'm trying to train my ass off and just get ready for it. I feel like I've had a good camp and learned a lot, so I'm just excited to get in there. I just can't wait. It's just like I just see it as another fight. It's just like any other fight, but it's a big bonus that it's on Cage Warriors.
That's fair enough. Let's talk about your opponent for a second. A really tough dude, Michelangelo Lupoli. I've seen him fight several different times over the years, and a lot of people look at him and they see a 6-4 record, and then they would look at you and be like, "Oh, it's an English guy." It's like, okay, I see what's going on here. They're bringing in this kid for Ryan, but I would tell anyone, watch Cage Warriors for a little bit more before you jump to conclusions like that. I don't think that's the case at all.
No.
In fact, I would say there's probably room for a contrary opinion. There might be some people that say like, oh, wow, he's lost 2 in a row, and let's put him up against an English kid with maybe not a lot of experience who can sell tickets. So there are 2 different sides of the coin to look at this.
Yeah, I do. I agree.
Right.
Yeah,
So I want to ask you, Sheldon, like, there are a lot of people that have opinions, and, you know, I know this is shocking news to you, but not all of these opinions are nice, right? So I have to ask you a difficult question here. For people who look at you and be like, okay, guy who's relatively inexperienced, but he's had some success. I don't know if he's ready for a guy like this. This guy's got a ton of experience. He's one of the top fighters in Europe. I don't know if this guy's ready. Obviously, you know you're ready. What gives you that sort of confidence heading into this bout?
I think it's the amateur career, to be honest. I believe I've had one of the toughest amateur careers of any amateur. And I feel like a lot of them are doing it the same way I've done it now. A lot of them are having 10 fights, you know, getting ready for it. So yeah, I think it's the amateur career that's given me the good base to then push on. Everyone already knows who I am and what I'm about. You know, I've not even got to reintroduce myself because they already know who I am. But just since I took that first loss, since writing that goal, my mind's set on them finishes. And he's number 5 in Italy. You got to give him his credit. He fought Sam Creasy, who's number 1 in the UK, 2 fights ago. He fought LeBlanc, who's probably number 1 in France, number 6 in Europe. And then this guy's number 5 in Italy, who I'm fighting. So, yeah, I think it's a fight for me where if I knock this kid out, I'll finish him. You're talking, I'm only a fight away from the belt.
When you I look at you, and you're a pretty big dude for this weight class, like 5'7", 5'8", like that's very tall. Like, a lot of guys aren't they don't have that range, they don't have that height. Do you feel like that gives you a massive advantage over Lupoli in this fight?
Yeah, I think the range will be a telltale, but he uses his kicks a lot, doesn't he? So he can counter that with his kicks, with his style. So I think he's got a good style to sort of manipulate the range a little bit. His fighting style, but yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, I think the range will work in this fight.
Perfect. And for you, you look at this for Lupoli, your just general opinion of him, like what makes him a good fighter in your opinion, without giving too much away. Let's not talk about your game plan, but just overall, what do you think about your opponent and just kind of where do you think you have the biggest advantage over him?
The attraction to fighting Lupoli for me is basically who he's just fought in his last 2 fights. His last 3 fights actually. So he's fought Araneba, then he's fought number 6, number 5, then he's fought number 1, then he's fought number 6. So that's the attraction for me. So I see it as if I beat him, then that puts me in the position that he was in beforehand to the fight before the title. You know what I mean? So that's the position. That's the angle that I'm looking at this fight from, in terms of who he's actually fought and what positions he was in. Because if he beats Sam Creasy, he's getting the title fight. If he beats Leblond, he's getting the title fight. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like he should be the favorite in terms of who he's actually fought. I know he got beat, but he's still fought on cage and he's still fought some of the best flyweights in the country. So yeah, I even that's how I see it. I see it as you've got to put him as a favorite in terms of his fought, but I think we all know from caliber and technique who the favorite is.
All right, perfect. And I wanted to ask you before I let you go, for all of your supporters that are going to be showing up to Manchester to watch you perform, what do you want them to know and what can they expect to see when you fight this guy next month?
Enjoy your night. I hope you all have a great night. You can probably expect to see a top fight from me and him. I reckon it's a good style matchup. I reckon it could be explosive early. But I don't think there's just one fight to watch. I think there's a few fights to watch on this card. I've been telling everyone who's coming to support me, listen, because there's a few more on this card as well. You need to keep an eye open. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good night of fights. I was actually at the last Manchester show as a spectator, and mate, it went off. It went off. Luke Riley was dusting heads off, and it was Adam Cullen with his shades. Yeah, it was going on, man. I want him to wear them shades every fight now. I've seen him in them shades. They're brilliant, aren't they? I just want him to fight in them. But yeah, so them shades, man, they're legendary. So he needs to bring them back to Manchester.
All right. Well, we'll definitely let Adam know that. And before I let you go, Sheldon, were there any supporters? Were there any sponsors that you'd like to thank?
Burger Capital, Gino, my gym, and everyone who supported from the start as well. Not just everyone who supported now. Everyone who supported in this whole journey. It's been about 6-7 years now, and I've had support from different angles, different people. Some who I've not spoke to for a while, some who are new. So yeah, thank you to everyone, and I hope you enjoy the fight. I'm going to go in there and take his head off.
Well, absolutely perfect. Sheldon, I appreciate your time. And for all the audience that are watching the program right now, whether you're in the UK or not, if you can't make it to the event, watch the fight on UFC Fight Pass. And you can watch Sheldon perform, and also some many other top fighters throughout Europe will be competing on the card. So you'll definitely want to check that out. Sheldon, thank you for your time, sir. And I look forward to having you back very soon.